to the left side of the racetrack. There's the view inside Brock's Mobile 1.
Just see the way that 1,000-kilo BMW just murders the V8s under brakes. There he is, making up a lot of ground on Peter Brock. Brock is going to be under fire very, very shortly.
The cornering speed of the BMW, Mark, their handling package is just superb. They've worked on this car, I don't know how many years now. This body shape has been their flagship for motor racing, but it's at the end of the line now. But the amount of technology that is in that car will be nothing short of Cape Canaveral standard. And a credit to their team, a credit to their engineering. I do compliment them on that aspect.
They run down by Corporate Hill into the right-hander. Larry Perkins, Brock closes on him under brakes. Wayne Gardner just ahead of him. Tony Longhurst just behind Brock. And then it's Jimmy Richards in the Winfield Commodore car, number 2.
These two pilots, Larry Perkins and Peter Brock, played a big part in putting this new Holden aerodynamic package together, along with the Winfield team, Freddie Gibson's input as well.
I think it's fair to say that without the combined mutual efforts of all the Holden teams, the CAM's governing body wouldn't have been swayed by their argument. It has been a unified case that's been put forward by the Holden CAM to produce these new wings.
Let's check them out, how they run on our Shell race score. Glenn Seaton leads the pack over John Bowes, Falcon doing B. Alan Jones runs third in the Peter Jackson Falcon, followed by Wayne Gardner. Larry Perkins rounds out the 5, and we're back at the creek for a beat. Just a sec. Distance now, as they come out of Corporate Hill turn, Larry Perkins, Peter Brock. That'll give you an idea of the queue. Tony Longhurst sits in there. And right behind Tony Longhurst is, of course, Jimmy Richards in the Winfield Commodore.
It is interesting, Mike, since Winton, when the big hefty fines, the $3,000 fines were handed out, that we're not missing one bumper bar or one spoiler in this race. It's about the first race we've had this year where all the cars are intact.
Early days, Alan.
Well, I hope I haven't spoken too soon.
And the other thing, of course, a track like this at Eastern Creek where horsepower does come into play, you can always expect a bit of that roughhouse stuff on a very short track like Winton or Amaru Park.
True.
But here, you don't really want to touch anyone at the end of the straight, as you saw at the head of the program with Thomas Mazzera sliding off here in practice yesterday, and Dick Johnson being beset with problems on Friday when he and Larry Perkins tangled in a practice session.
Well, Glenn Seaton certainly controlling the pace from the front. He's just putting a time of 34.9, so he's about 1.5 seconds off his qualifying pace. Qualifying run in particularly cold conditions yesterday, 15 or 16 degrees. It's a little bit warmer today, but track temperatures are down.
Brock up to position number 6. Longhurst is 7 behind him. We'll take bumper cam for you folks at home.
Look at this.
And this is a 5-litre V8 in front of the BMW. And Longhurst will be looking to the inside. He can just get a shot at them here. He loses out on acceleration, but I tell you what, he doesn't lose out by much. Watch this. You would expect the V8 to run away from it, but it's not.
No.
And this is what all the 5-litre competitors have been talking about. The new rear wing on the Longhurst car was not homologated for use in Australia last year. On that basis, the car was allowed to run in 93. That was as it finished 92. So CAMS have decided to give it a little more balance, which would enable the motor racing manager Tim DeMichigan all over today, because he has a team of people hot after him.
Now this is your critical Bathurst form, guys. You're talking about Conrad Straight. Tony Longhurst didn't get much further than 50 or 60 metres behind Brock there, is sitting in his toe.
They'll be able to gear the car at any speed they want for Bathurst, which for this formula I suspect will be about 285 kilometres an hour on Conrad, and that little yellow BMW is going to be sitting just the way it is now. They'll run easier on fuel. They won't have to make the same number of pit stops. The V8s are very thirsty. I predict at least 5 stops for a V8 at Bathurst. And certainly the Longhurst team is in with a show.
Oh yes, it'll be a very, very close and exciting contest. Thomas Mazzera started dead last, position 33 now, up to 12. So he's done some fine driving, as Thomas Mazzera.
That's great. Good to see Thomas having a run. He has had a lot of mishaps, and not always his own doing in practice.
The interesting thing here, Alan, is that Alan Jones made up so much ground on Wayne Gardner. Gardner has sat here on the tail of Jones ever since. And Jones hasn't been able to go on with John Bowe.
No.
And if anything, the field is coming up onto the tail of Jones, not onto the tail of John Bowe.
Exactly.
It's interesting monitoring the lap times. Singh doing a high 134. Well, Paul Morris has put in a 134.6 in the little Coke BMW. An idea of the comparative speeds when they get locked up in this aerodynamic train. But there's some fast little German bimmers down the back there.
Glenn Seaton keeping his unique record here at Eastern Creek Raceway intact. He won both legs of the Winfield Triple Challenge here at the start of the year.
Such has been the dominance of the Peter Jackson team. They've won 9 of the 12 touring car races held this year, including the Triple Challenge. It is some idea of just how on form the two Peter Jackson Falcons have been.
And just realise one thing there, Mark. You have to prepare the cars to win. They don't just get out there and run automatically. The crew that have put these cars together and maintained them, and Bo Seaton, who's worked on the engines, has done a superb job. You never win by accident.
Yeah.
You never win by good luck. You have to have a tremendous management skills, and you have to have some superb drivers. And certainly Glenn and Alan Jones have done the job for the team.
They're coming up into some slower traffic here. I think the first of the 2-litre cars to the right there, Dillman's Impala Kitchens BMW. It's been a pretty lonely old chase for him during the course of the season as well.
But credit to him, Mike. He took on the job. He was one of the few that put his hat in the ring for the 2-litre class and said, I'll do the championship. And with Impala Kitchens, has been out there every round. He's got my vote.
He certainly has. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is Tony Longhurst as Brocky gets it around in front of him. Longhurst backs it out, but able to straighten it up. And Brock goes back one spot in the pack. Here they come across the line. Gardner trying to set Alan Jones up for a pass down the inside, but Jones a bit too cagey for all that stuff.
Well, we saw these two come together at Simmons Plains in the second round of the championship. No holds barred. Jones showed him what touring car racing was all about pretty swiftly. Wayne's got a little bit more experience up his sleeve now, and he's taken the battle up to Jonesy once again.
I think he's done a fabulous job, Wayne Gardner.
Sure has.
He came in, he was a little aggressive to start with, and that aggression was tempered by an old pro, Alan Jones, at Simmons Plains. A couple of things went wrong for him with engine blow-ups at Lakeside. He returned to Monaco to take a few weeks off. Speaking to him just before the race, he said he's staying at home. He's going to go testing with the Holden Racing team and do as much as he possibly can.
Well, that's the wisest thing you can do. You're not going to get going any faster sitting on a beach in Monaco.
That really is central to the Wayne Gardner story. He told me yesterday he hasn't had one separate test session the whole time he's been under contract with Holden. So he's certainly looking forward to getting down to some serious testing after Eastern Creek.
Now look at Longhurst now. He's moving up right behind Alan Jones. So the 25 car comes up behind Wayne Gardner.
Yeah, holding off the Castrol VP.
So he's been able to get past Larry's car and Peter Brock.
And Rocky's car.
So Wayne Gardner's getting pretty oversteery through some of these corners. So the tyres getting a bit hot on the Telecom Holden. And
the tyres being better nick on the BMW, I'll tell you.
Longhurst will be licking his lips, I guarantee you.
He won't even know he's got tyres on it, Mike.
We've got 5 laps to go still. That's still quite a bit of real estate to cover, and Longhurst is making enormous ground through here.